The school bell echoed through the empty hallways as the last stragglers shuffled out of the building. One little boy remained seated on a bench by the pickup area, his backpack slouched against his legs and a tattered comic book in his hands. The sun cast long shadows, marking the passage of time, and his stomach rumbled faintly as he glanced at the clock for the 10th time in what felt like an hour. His mom was running late again, a familiar pattern lately. What he didn't know was that the afternoon was about to veer into the bizarre, a chapter so unusual it could have been ripped from one of his comics. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. A low rumble caught his attention. It wasn't the usual minivan or hatchback purring into the pickup line. This sound was deeper, more futuristic, like something that belonged on a movie set. The boy looked up, and there it was, a sleek, gleaming Tesla Cybertruck. Its stainless steel body reflected the orange glow of the setting sun, making it look less like a vehicle and more like a visitor from another timeline. The door didn't open immediately. Instead, the truck sat idle for a few moments, its presence alone enough to draw curious glances from staff and the last remaining students. The boy blinked, wondering if it was a mistake, if perhaps this mechanical marvel had rolled into the wrong parking lot. But then, with a faint hiss, the door swung upward, not outward, upward, and out stepped Elon Musk himself. He wasn't wearing a suit or anything formal. No, Elon looked entirely at ease in a black t-shirt that read "Occupy Mars" and a pair of jeans that seemed more suited to tinkering in a garage than chauffeuring through suburban pickup lines. He adjusted his sunglasses, looked around as though scanning for an invisible signal, and then spotted the boy. "You waiting for someone?" Elon asked, his voice carrying a casual tone, as though this were a completely ordinary scenario. The boy nodded slowly, unsure if he was dreaming. "My mom. She's late." Elon glanced at the horizon, then back at the boy. "Ma'am," he said, as if considering a math problem. "Well, I'm here now." Before the boy could process what that meant, Elon walked over, hands in his pockets, and sat on the bench beside him. The bench creaked slightly under the sudden addition of weight and technological gravitas. Elon wasn't imposing in stature, but his presence filled the space like a solar flare. "What are you reading?" Elon asked, leaning forward to peer at the comic book. "Spider-Man," the boy mumbled, still unsure whether he should be asking for an autograph or calling someone to confirm this was happening. "Great choice," Elon replied. "Do you know Spider-Man's main power?" The boy raised an eyebrow. Climbing walls? Swinging on webs?" "Nope. It's figuring stuff out," Elon said, tapping his temple. "He's a problem solver. That's the real superpower." The boy thought about this for a moment. "Is that your superpower?" Elon grinned. "Sort of. That, and making really fast cars." He gestured at the Cybertruck, as though it were a pet he was proud of. "Want to see something cool?" The boy hesitated. His mom had always said not to talk to strangers, let alone climb into futuristic vehicles with them. But this wasn't just anyone. This was Elon Musk. If his mom found out he turned down an offer like this, she'd probably ground him just out of principle. "Okay," the boy said cautiously. Elon led into the truck, the metal body gleaming like something out of science fiction. As the door slid open again, it revealed an interior that looked more like a spaceship than a car. The dashboard was bare except for a single enormous touchscreen that displayed a rotating holographic model of the Earth. There were no buttons, no levers, just a pristine, minimalist design that screamed efficiency and a little bit of ego. "Buckle up," Elon said, settling into the driver's seat. The boy hesitated but climbed in, fastening the seatbelt that felt more like it belonged on a roller coaster than a car. The Cybertruck hummed to life, and before the boy could even ask where they were going, Elon hit a button on the touchscreen. The truck didn't just move. It glided. There was no jerking, no bumping over cracks in the pavement, just smooth, seamless motion as the vehicle seemed to defy gravity itself. "We're just going for a little spin," Elon said, steering with one hand and fiddling with the touchscreen with the other. "I installed a prototype AI in this thing. It can pretty much drive itself." The boy's eyes widened. "Isn't that dangerous?" "Not as dangerous as your mom leaving you here all by yourself," Elon replied, smirking. "Besides, I've got it all figured out." They sped through the empty streets, the Cybertruck making turns so sharp and precise it felt like the truck could read Elon's mind. The boy gripped the edge of his seat, half excited, half terrified. At one point, Elon flipped a switch, and the roof of the truck began to retract. The boy gasped as the cool evening air rushed in, the sky above stretching wide and open like a painting. They drove under a canopy of stars, and for a moment, It felt like they weren't on Earth at all but somewhere far, far away. Ever wonder why stars twinkle? Elon asked, his voice suddenly contemplative. The boy shook his head. Atmosphere, Elon explained. The light from those stars travels millions of miles, only to get messed up by Earth's air. Kind of poetic, don't you think? Something so simple can make something so far away look alive. The boy didn't know what to say, so he just nodded, letting the words sink in. After a while, they pulled into an open field. Elon tapped a few commands into the touchscreen, and the truck began to lower itself, its suspension adjusting until it was level with the ground. Time for the best part, Elon said, hopping out. The boy followed, curious and slightly apprehensive. Elon walked to the back of the truck, pressed a hidden button, and the tailgate folded down to reveal a flamethrower. The boy's jaw dropped. Is that legal? Not really, Elon said, grinning like a kid who just found a cheat code for life. But it's fun. Want to try? The boy hesitated, then nodded. Elon handed him the flamethrower, guiding his hands on the controls. Point it at the ground, Elon instructed. And whatever you do, don't aim it at the truck. Or me. The boy pulled the trigger, and a burst of flame shot out, lighting up the dark field. He laughed, a sound of pure joy and disbelief, and for the first time all evening, he forgot about his mom being late or how long he'd been waiting. In that moment, it was just him, the flamethrower, and the eccentric billionaire who'd somehow turned a boring day into a memory he'd never forget. After a few more bursts of fire, Elon took the flamethrower back, packed it neatly into the truck, and checked his watch. We should get you back, he said, his tone suddenly businesslike. The ride back to school was quieter. The boy was too overwhelmed to speak, and Elon seemed lost in thought, his eyes scanning the horizon as if solving a problem only he could see. When they arrived, Elon pulled up to the curb just as the boy's mom's car rolled into the lot. She stepped out, flustered and apologetic, but froze when she saw the Cybertruck and the man behind the wheel. Elon gave her a casual wave, then turned to the boy. Remember, he said, his voice low and serious. The real superpower is figuring stuff out. The boy nodded, his head spinning with everything that had happened. As he climbed out and ran to his mom, the Cybertruck pulled away, its taillights glowing like embers in the fading light. For the boy, life would return to normal the next day. But that evening, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he realized something had shifted. He didn't just want to read about heroes anymore. He wanted to become one. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.